Hello, lovies. It's your Auntie Lisa, the cool aunt, the non-judgmental aunt, the aunt you can tell anything to. Now, I've learned some life lessons, some of them the hard way. Let's find out what life lessons we have today with Auntie Lisa's Life Lessons. Good morning, my lovies. It's your Auntie Lisa, and today's life lesson is one about being prepared. Okay? What to do when the power goes out. I have to apologize. I am wearing the same shirt I was wearing in the last video. If you watch this on YouTube rather than listening on the podcast, it's the same shirt. I also have to apologize for my appearance, but look, it is dark up in my bedroom. I was able to find a clean shirt at the top of the drawer, just reach in and grab it, and I'm happy with that. My hair is wet because I took a shower, because I was hot, and I'm happy with that too. So this is what's happened since the last time I talked to you. We had a horrible, horrible storm come through here last night. Several horrible storms, as a matter of fact, and it completely knocked out our power. So I thought today's Auntie Lisa's life lessons would kind of be one of those to help you get through times like this when it happens, because sometimes a little bit of preparation can mean a whole lot of convenience for you, okay? So the first thing you have to do is be aware of your weather forecasts. That's the very, very first, most important piece of advice I can ever give you. Be aware of your weather forecast. If you have a forecasted severe thunder shower coming your way, or you're under a severe thunder shower watch or even warning, make sure your devices are charged up, specifically your cell phones. That's very, very important because you're going to need them in the future to make contacts and check on people and also report your outages, okay? So, first things first, make sure your phones are fully charged. The second thing to do when you have noticed that there's going to be a severe thunderstorm come through is make sure that you have extra ice in your freezer and in your refrigerator. Get yourself just a plastic container, a tub of some sort. I was about to name a famous brand, but until they sponsor me, I'm not going to. Get yourself a plastic tub, put a bag of ice in that, and put it in your fridge, just in case. And if it ends up that you don't lose power, all you have is a thing of water to deal with. That's it. Third thing to do in preparation for the possibility of losing power. Develop hobbies. And you're going to say to yourself, what has that got to do with anything about losing power? If you have absolutely nothing to do, you're going to go nuts. All right? Here's the sitch. I have been getting on to my son for years. Let's just say for years and years, advising him that he needs a hobby outside of video games because he won't always have access to them. All right? So last night, power goes off. Now, I will read by candlelight. I will do lots of things by candlelight. I mean, it's just the way I am. I've got several hobbies that do not require power. I missed the power because, I couldn't. Not that I couldn't because my phone was fully charged, but I didn't want to scroll through Facebook because, hey, that's going to use the power. B, I didn't want to use up any data and all that fun stuff. So we have no power. My son comes downstairs, all in a kerfuffle. This storm, can't believe this storm did this. I'm like, hon, it's a storm. People lose power all the time. I had plans. I said, do not complain to me how you were going to play your video games until 2 o'clock in the morning and you were going to beat the night. And he's like, it had nothing to do with my video games. When he gets mad, his octaves go up and up and up and up. I'm like, okay, fine. It didn't have anything to do with your video games. Well, then, after a while, it is dark. There is no natural light to do anything with. So candlelight it is, and that means reading. And I'm like, if I'm going to read by candlelight, I'm going to do it in my bed. So I go upstairs to the bedroom. My husband has a lantern, a battery-powered lantern that provides quite a bit of light. And he had it on and was doing some of his hobbies via the lantern light. And and I'm reading, and we hear my son in the other room with his 3DS that he has not broken out in a long time, right? So he pulls out the 3DS, and he's trying to play it, and all of a sudden we hear, what the heck? Oh my gosh, are you serious? Because it was either glitching or he was running out of power. It hadn't been charged in God knows how long, and he was running out of power. And he's, oh, I can't believe this. Why did the power have to go out? So, have some hobbies that are not dependent upon electricity. Okay, that's 3. Now the next tip is another one about being prepared. And you may say to yourself, really? They make such things? They do. I have a friend who is a former Eagle Scout and always believes in be prepared, of course. And they make USB hand crank chargers. Seriously, you plug your USB charger into the device and then into your device, and then now it is annoying and it takes a long time to get a full charge or even a decent charge, as you're constantly doing this and making, oh my gosh, and if you have shoulder problems because you're an old lady like me, well, that might not be the best thing in the world, but they do make them. So if you're really into being prepared, you might want to have one of those handy. It'll allow you to charge devices that you need charged. Now, I mentioned putting a block of ice in the fridge beforehand. The rest of these tips are what to do when the power does go out, okay? First and foremost, don't panic. Secondly, go around and turn off all but one light. Unplug your, like your TV and your Xbox and things like that. Go ahead and unplug them. And the reason why is when that power comes back, you don't want a big old surge, okay? It could damage your appliances. So go ahead and unplug them. Unplug the major appliances and the major electronic suckers in your home. Leave one light on so you know what's going on. All right, so you've done that, right? Okay. Do not, under any circumstances, open your refrigerator door. Never. I don't care if you're dying of thirst and the only way you can drink water is if it has ice in it. Don't open the refrigerator or freezer door. You want to keep that closed because it is acting right now as a cooler. And it is holding in all the cold air it had already generated. The minute you open that door, you speed up the decomposition of everything that's inside astronomically, because you've let in nothing but warm air and you've let out all the cold air, and now it's going to really have to fight to stay cool, and it won't. So do not, under any circumstances, open that refrigerator door. You may think a cold beer is what you need to become hydrated. No. And speaking of beer, stay away from alcohol during a power outage because it dehydrates you. You may think, oh, that is going to be refreshing and I need that. No, no. What you need is water. Only water during power outages, okay? There's a method to the madness. Your body needs water, only water. Now, if you happen to have a gas stove, you may end up being the hero to your neighborhood, depending upon how long the power is out. And I say that because if you have a gas stove, at least you can still cook. If you have an electric stove, you cannot. So that's something to remember. I mean, people are going to be saying, I've got all this food that's going to go to waste, I need to cook it. If you're a good neighbor, if you have gas stoves, you might want to invite somebody over to cook up their stuff. As a matter of fact, if they don't put our power back on pretty soon, I'm going to have to cook what's in my fridge. And see, that's the time when you would open the fridge, is to cook everything in it so it doesn't get lost. Let me go back to be prepared one more time. This is not for when you are in a power outage, but rather beforehand. Many homeowners insurance policies have a clause that you can get like $500 worth of replacement for when the power goes out and your food, everything is destroyed in the freezers. Did you know that? I happen to have that addendum in mine, and I'm very happy that I do, because you lose everything if you can't cook it. All right, so back to what to do when the power goes out. So we covered unplugging everything, never opening the fridge. A cool shower. So if you have a electric hot water heater, a cool shower will be nice. Don't use the hot water because you don't want to drain any of that might be there in case you need it later. If you have a gas hot water heater, you can take warm showers if you want, but cool showers will keep you cooler. Let's see, what other tips and tricks can I give you about surviving a power outage? Remember, if you're hot, so is everybody else. If you're annoyed, so is everybody else. If you want to punch the people in your house, they want to punch you. I'm not lying. Heat and inconvenience makes people grouchy, okay? So if you know that you're being a little bit testy and you're mad because somebody else is being testy, just remember we're all in this together. Now, right now, in my area, the town I live in is the one that was hit hardest by the storms. So we've got tons of people without power in this town. And then in the surrounding towns as well. They say we might have our power back by 3 o'clock this afternoon, which would be lovely. If it's not, I have to cook everything that's in that fridge. You don't want to go any more than 24 hours. And when you cook it, make sure you cook it thoroughly. But in the meantime, don't open that bloody fridge. You follow me? Okay, good. Now let's see, what else? Natural light is your friend. Open the curtains. Open the windows to get some airflow, because you're going to need it. Otherwise, when you're so used to the air conditioner running to keep it moving, you're going to need some windows for some airflow through, okay? So open the curtains. That'll give you some light. That's where all this light is coming from right now. Get you some natural light. Open the windows to get some air coming through. Get a piece of paper to fan yourself, because that's the only way you're going to move the air. And then take advantage of those non-electronic hobbies that you have. In this house, we have, I'm probably going to be down here crafting or painting. I know that my husband is going to be doing word finds or reading. I know that my housemate, John, is probably going to be leaving and going to play games somewhere where they have power. And then Denver's going to be sitting here, my son, complaining that he has nothing to do because he's never developed a hobby that does not require electricity. So there's that. If you're in the Oshkosh area of Wisconsin and are experiencing the power outage, my heart is with you because I'm going through the same thing. If you are in the South and experience power outages for whatever reason, and you know those storms down south are biatches. Yes, I said it. I know, I lived in Louisiana for so many years, it's not even funny. And they'll knock the power out. All the tips I've given you will help, but probably the most important one for you guys is going to be as sedentary as possible. And you're saying, well, Lisa, you just told us to do our hobbies. Yes, but if they're hobbies that don't require a lot of energy and won't heat you up. For example, I wouldn't go outside and play baseball. Okay, it's hot. But you can read, you can crochet, I'm listing my hobbies now, but you can do things with your hands, you can build, you can paint, you can do all that, but stay in a place where you can try to stay cool and not use up your energy, not overheat yourself. Do you have friends who have power? Go to their houses. If they're good friends, they'll let you come cop a squat on their couch. Okay? Just basically common sense. Rely on your friends, rely on your family, and for the love of Pete, don't open that refrigerator. Oh, and if you have pets, if you're hot, they're hot. Make sure they have plenty of water. Make sure that they are taken care of as well. Do not ever leave a pet behind in a house without electricity. Okay? If you have to kennel them, but hopefully you can cop a squat somewhere where they're understanding and will let you bring your dog or your cat. Because they have got to have water. And when the power's out, that water will evaporate much, much quicker. So that's another thing to think about. What's your favorite thing to do when the power's out? When you have no electricity to scroll Facebook, watch podcasts, listen to audiobooks, when all the power is gone, what is it that you do to occupy yourself? I mean, 100 years ago, in 1920, we didn't have video games. We had electricity, but we did not have video games. We did not have the internet. We did not have... So how did we amuse ourselves when the sun went down? Listen to the radio. If you have a battery-operated radio, there you go. So make sure you have... There's another tip. Make sure you have batteries and flashlights because you're going to need them to get around. I think candles are great, but they do prefer... They do have a fire hazard that can come with them. So having flashlights, having battery-operated flashlights, all that ready to go is important. As I said, my husband has this little portable lantern, and it's fantastic. It provides more than enough light. So, have flashlights available, have hobbies available. And remember to check on your friends, just in case. I mean, the first storm that came through yesterday, I ran outside in it, y'all. I did. I mean, it is lightning. It is storming. There is a heavy wind with this. And I was like, oh my God, John probably left the car window down. So I get up and I run outside, run down my front steps, around the front of my house, look at the car. The car's windows are rolled up. Great. Run back, run in. In just that time, it was less than 30 seconds, okay? Maybe 45. But it was a very short amount of time. I was completely and totally drenched. Totally. As if I had just come out from falling in a lake. That's how wet I was. So that happened, but that's the only thing bad that happened. And after that first storm came through, my best friend called me and he goes, "Hey, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. I'm just wet." And told him the story, and he said, "Only you," which is true. And then I asked how he was, and they've got some limbs down and stuff. And then we lost power. And I let him know that we lost power. Simply because if there's somebody else that can check in on you to make sure everything's okay, you also need to check in on them, which I'm fixing to do as soon as I stop this. So that's our life lesson for the day. How to take care of yourself when the power goes out. If you have any comments or suggestions, please let us know. You can, always comment. You can like and subscribe. You can email me, Auntie Lisa's Life Lessons @gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, and I would be so happy to give you a life lesson or two if you need it. Oh, also we have a Facebook page, Auntie Lisa's Life Lessons. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Until the next time, remember our mantra, which is, as always, be bold, be brave, be unstoppable. And I love you just the way